All right, as I mentioned earlier this morning when we went on there, we do have Blaine Layne with us today, and it's good to have you, Blaine.
Oh yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Good. And Blaine, he for those of you who may not know, he is a county commissioner, but that's not why we're interviewing him today. And so we're going to take him off the hot seat. No hot questions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And but Blaine, you've recently done a project that's been close to you, close to your heart, and so I want you to just tell us about it and give us a little info on it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I guess actually since last September kind of started the project, and it's actually a movie and film. Many of you may have heard about it. It's called Escaping. And so kind of what I guess got the ball rolling a little bit was I've been writing for a while, kind of scripts. I tried writing a book, and I did write a book and realized I just really hated the process. So
Yeah.
and realized I didn't like, telling about, how the grass smells and how the wind feels in your hair and all those details. And script writing is different. So anyway, I realized I liked writing scripts a lot better, and then my son actually came to me and said, Dad, I think I'd like to be an actor. And I just kind of laughed at him and said, yes, we're going to want to be an astronaut or president next week, and just whatever. And then it kind of hit me, and I was like, well, that is kind of in my field, and so why don't you know what, let's try this. And so I kind of began writing a script for us, and I actually began to pray about, I guess, what to write first, because I don't believe in just making a movie to make a movie.
Right.
It's got to have a good deep message. And so I kind of came up with it, and I had a scene, and I was like, well, we need to practice before we really commit to this. Let's go practice this scene. And so I sat down with him one night, and we kind of went through the lines together, and I was like, I think we can do this. So we kind of just from there began the process. I met with Studio Dunlap, and we've been wanting to do a movie together for a while. Actually, we had 2 big movies, full features, and those, man, filmmaking is expensive. There's no doubt about it. So I met with him and Cody and Aaron. We were just so excited, and so we all decided to go forth with it, and then pre-production, all that. So we filmed in February, and it's coming out finally. I'm excited to say it's coming out this Friday and Saturday. So July 11th and 12th is going to be the formal dinners. And it's also an awareness for kids dealing with domestic child abuse. And that's really when I was talking about the message and not just making a movie to make a movie. That's really the message behind this whole film. And so 11th and 12th is formal dinners. 13th we are having a casual showing, and it's actually a cheaper ticket price as well. So, but the dinner is included for the 11th and 12th. So
Okay. And where's that going to be located?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be. It's actually going to be at Simple Serenity Farm, which is right off the East Valley exit. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've been there. So, and now you've been. You said you've been writing for quite a while. I mean, off and on. That's been kind of your thing behind the scenes, I guess.
Yeah. So this is actually. I was so excited when you reached out to me, because this one of those full circle moments in my life, because you were my English teacher in 7th grade. And I know you have probably thousands of kids you've taught at this point, but for me it was really special because at the end of the year, they always give awards, and you actually gave me a creative writing award. So you were one of the voices in my life that kind of kept.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it was when you said, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like I said, just a full circle moment now that we can have this, sit down and have a conversation about some of my writing some more. So.
Well, that's neat, because I know I don't want to make this interview me, but when I tried to in the writing, I did a lot of what if stories. You probably remember those, and it wasn't just to have something to do. It was something to get you to think and work on, and there's no wrong answers in those what if stories. So you could say basically whatever you wanted to. And I noticed in my career, by doing that, a lot of people, when they started out where they couldn't write just the basic 1 or 2 pages before the year was out, they were writing 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 pages. They just got better at it because they were doing it. and it takes time. But I'm glad to see this because it gives me great pleasure to see former students like yourself and doing well. Because I know I've written a couple of books, and one was with some 7th grade students.
Really? So I didn't know that.
Yes, it's called The Destined, and it took us 5 years. I had started out with 5 people and 5 students, and then eventually ended up with just 1 because I told them over the 5 years, I said, look, you're teenagers. You know, you do teenage things if you want to. It's not gonna. So we finally wound up with just the 1, but got it published. And,
really?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to check that out. And you said the name of it is
The Destined.
The Destined.
Yeah, and then I've written a devotional book as well.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
But anyway, getting back to you, I didn't mean to.
No.
But,
well, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, it's writing is a lot of people think they can't write, but in reality, when they start putting things down, they start remembering things that they had put in the back of their heads they forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they talk about writer's block, but I don't. For me, and I guess this is my form of writer's block, but when I talk to other writers, I would say 90% of my writing is me either staring at a screen or riding down the road thinking about the scene.
Yeah.
So it's like, and not that I'm not writing it, that's what I'm sitting there doing. I'm writing, I'm thinking about it. And I think they feel like if they're not sitting there with their fingers on the keyboard actually writing, that they're not writing. And it's like, no, for me, it's just sitting there staring and just replaying the scene and thinking about what's going to happen. And I actually enjoy it. And I get lost. You know, the dazed off. People are probably concerned if they just saw me sitting there staring. But yeah.
Oh, I know that feeling very much. Now, tell us what possessed you to want to do this particular film.
So, with the subject, with dealing with kids, dealing with domestic child abuse. So, for those who don't know, I actually am. I work with the University of Tennessee Extension and do the 4-H program. So I'm around kids quite a bit, and then also a youth pastor at Highway 28 Church of God, and or was for the last 5 years, I should say. And I just being around kids and always kind of having that heart for kids and just seeing, when you're in the classrooms, you know, and you see things, not necessarily domestic child abuse, but you see kids who are having a rough home life. Something I didn't understand, thankfully, you know, blessed, that I didn't understand when I was a kid. And I remember I did ride the school bus, and you run across all characters lived up on Cagle Mountain. So I had one of the longest bus rides, and you run across all types of characters. And I didn't understand back then, you know, kids who had that chip on their shoulder, just always like almost, you know, looking, and then they were always in defense mode. And I didn't recognize that as a kid, which I guess I shouldn't have, but it was just all that coming back and seeing. I've just always had a heart for kids dealing with domestic child abuse, and so, like I said, when my son came to me, it seemed like that was a topic we could hit on together, and it have meaning, have purpose, so behind it.
Well, and a lot of times of course, I've seen it over my 30 years of teaching. Sometimes the children. They may be withdrawn, and you don't understand why they're withdrawn or why they don't want to mingle with other people. And, excuse me. Good morning, WSTQ.
Hello?
This is WSTQ.
Yeah, I do. I had a refrigerator and stove and fell for 50. I won't put on Bring on there.
All right, hold on just a second. Let me get this down for you. Got a refrigerator and a stove?
Yeah. They both work.
All right, what's your asking price?
What are you asking for, bud? What are you asking for? $250 for both of them.
All right, and the number I can reach?
Your number? It's 423.
All right.
290.
8331. All right, got you. Thank you.
All right, man.
Sorry about that. And we are swapping shops, so they call.
Yep.
and won't turn that down at all. I mean, that's what we're here for. But a lot of people don't realize that. Because people are not going to come out and tell you they're in an abusive relationship, with spouses don't, and children don't. Sometimes the younger children might say things that they don't realize they're not supposed to say.
Yeah.
And that alerts you to other things. But it's a crisis I think we're dealing with more now than we used to.
Yes, and in fact, I think there's been some recent, pretty public known events we've seen, and so I've had people reach out to me when they found out what it was about, because they lived in a community that just recently experienced that here in the valley, or actually, here in the county, I should say, is more accurate. But so when they told me, and I was like, yeah, I knew about that particular situation. So it's something where I think a lot of people right now are even though they weren't part of it, they saw firsthand what was going on. And so it's like, this isn't just fantasy, this is something that is really happening.
Right. And so to be honest, we all need to reach out to people if we could, if we know this, if they, of course it's hard to tell sometimes if they don't tell you and you're not, maybe you're not with them every day or see them every day, so you don't know. But there are services, not just the police, and that's not, that is an option. But you can go to other sources. We have other, like CASA is a court-appointed advocates for the children, and which get caught in situations.
And they've been fantastic. I'd say Margie and Casa, they've been, when they found out, they've been very supportive of the project, and also kind of giving me advice on some things and here and there. So I just wanted to shout out and thank them real quick.
Well, good, because they do need support, because they work hard.
They do. And they're in the trenches with this stuff. I've made a movie to bring awareness, but they're in the trenches dealing with those situations every day. So.
And I know you didn't make the movie to get worldwide fame, but you never know when you do something small how it can grow.
Yeah. I always think about the scripture, which devotion stuff. I don't despise small beginnings, because you never know. So.
Yeah, you never know the example you're setting for somebody, or you never know if someone says, "Hey, I'm in that situation that applies to me. Let me reach out to because a lot of people, and it's kind of sad because you see a lot of times where people, they love each other, and they really do, but they can't stand the abuse, and that's the sad part about it. And children, bless their hearts, they love their parents.
Yeah, and they don't. A lot of times, they think it's their fault, something they did, and that's one of the most heartbreaking things of all. I think they blame, themselves for whatever their parents are dealing with, and it has nothing to do with them. Just
right. Well, and also, of course, maybe we're getting into something. I don't think my boss will be mad at me about this, but we get into those things where there's no place for stuff like that, abuse and stuff like that. There's no, if you have a problem with that, then maybe you need to seek help yourself.
Absolutely.
And then the spinoff to all that is you get in people who have from that maybe they got out of the situation, but they're still having depression or anxiety, and there's all kind of other things that come along.
Yep. Repercussions from the experience. Yep.
And sometimes this makes, for lack of a better term, normal people, it changes their whole lifestyle afterwards, where they can't deal with things anymore.
Yeah, just anxiety, I would say, is probably one of the biggest, and just personal interaction and anxiety with that. I've seen, I guess firsthand with some of my friends growing up. So.
Well, and I also have noticed that, for example, if someone's constantly being screamed at and hollered at, and if you said, "Hey," like they jerk, because they think you're getting on to them, or and so there's all kind of things, and I'm sure maybe you, of course, you probably researched a lot of that stuff when you did your movie too, and before you did your movie, so you can get all your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And well, I'm certainly glad you did this. I think it's going to be a good thing, and you're working on another, right?
So so the kind of what we're gonna do with this one, Aaron and I from Studio Dunlap, is we are going to put it into, we've submitted it to film festivals to see kind of how it does there. And then hopefully kind of get some, attention to say, hey, look what we can do. And so our next film that is it's a full feature length, but it also has a deep message, and that's it's actually going to be dealing with I guess sex trafficking is the big hot topic on that one. And that one's called War Trophy. And so, but it would be this one was, 3 months of preparation for 3 days of work. But this one is going to be, it could easily be a 15-month process with a 70 to 90 day shoot. But it would all be here, once again, here in Dunlap that we would do. So that's the big thing. We want to keep the heart of what we're doing here in Dunlap as much as possible. So,
do you have do you have this, your movie, do you have it on a CD where people can buy it, or is that yet?
So the film
in progress.
So we're going to kind of see what happens, what options we may get through the film festival process, because someone may, if it's somewhere else, then they won't get it. But we also have to be careful because they don't want it for public. They don't want it out for the public yet.
Right.
And they want it premiered at their festival, and especially if it's in state, they want it to be. So, for instance, we submitted to Austin, Texas. They want it to be premiered in Texas for the first time at their festival. So I'm kind of playing. To be honest, it's a little gray area that I was a little selfish and was like, no, I'm doing in Tennessee, I'm going to premiere it here for my local town to see first, because they may not have the option for a whole year to see it. And I want it to go on this film festival circuit, and then also it gave me time to actually promote the awareness and the message of the film here before it starts taking on this tour of, and then it's like, to me, it was like the message is going to kind of get lost and diluted because it's like, going around the world. And it's like, no, I want to take actual time to focus on it before it does that. So,
right. Well, that way you can get a local base and get it going.
Yeah.
And then if you have the interest here, then that interest can carry over. You can get maybe reviews. And
yeah,
like
absolutely.
Well, I think that's great. That to actually do that. I know Aaron, he's really good at what he does.
Oh yeah.
I sat and watched him one day, and I thought, man, I wish I could do that stuff. But I can't. I mean, I could if I was trained. But he's really good at it. He and his wife. And
Brittany. Yeah, they are top notch. He's definitely the best editor. One of the best editors I've ever. Maybe, well, I'm saying one of the best. He is the best editor I've ever came across. So
yeah, and he does a good job. And what kind of encouraging words do you have for other people who maybe want to write maybe a book or write essays? I mean, it doesn't have to be books. It could be essays or articles. What kind of advice do you have?
Just write. Like, don't feel. I think there's this secret pressure. Well, I think what we talked about earlier is you almost feel like, oh, if my hands aren't on the keyboard and I'm not actually writing something. A huge part of the writing process, at least for me, is the thinking process. It's okay to just sit there and think, but don't get discouraged. I would say you gotta, just like anything else, if you're really dedicated toward it, just say, hey, I'm gonna spend 30 minutes a day today, every day, just writing something. In that 30 minutes, maybe staring at the screen, trying to figure out, and it seems like, well, I didn't actually write anything, but it's like, no, now you're past the steps, what you don't want to do by that thinking process. So just sit there, just think, just dedicate 30 minutes, even if it's just staring. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. I think a lot of people need to understand, and I need to take my own advice. Writing every day or thinking. I know I have a story that I'm still not finished with it, and it's probably over 40 years long. I believe this or not, you hear these stories. I was asleep. This is when I was first married. I lived in Ringo, Georgia. And I woke up and this idea came to me about a story. So I immediately went and got some paper and I wrote down that story idea. And I thought, this is crazy. I've heard about this stuff happening.
Yeah.
And so I've worked on it and I've rewritten it and we'll see how it goes. But
well, and that's the other thing I think you're saying, that rewrites. You're perfect. I would say the chances of having a perfect story the first time you write it out, you are going to have rewrites.
Yeah.
That's part of the process, and I know it's your baby, and I know you're like protective over it, but you got to discipline it a little bit. You got to,
Yeah, because on that same story, I took it to I took a writing class, a novel writing class at UTC, and we had to write about 20 pages a week.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so I took that story. Now I didn't always get my 20 pages, but I wrote on that story, and then we'd read all of our stories when we come back to class. It was a smaller class.
Oh, that's fun.
And it is fun, but it's kind of scary sometimes too.
It is. You're putting it out there. Yeah.
You don't want everybody to go, well, this stinks.
Yeah. It's your baby.
So they would read and say, well, here's a suggestion. You might want to change this, and this is another way to do that, or another way to say this. And I'm thinking, that makes sense, because I like to listen to people.
Yes, and it's okay because someone is always going to think you should do something different. And I'm like you, I always listen to them. And especially if there's that same suggestion happens more than once, someone says the same thing, that's like, oh, okay, they're probably right. But then there are times I'm like, that's more my style, and I think I'm going to leave that. But at the end of the day, you have to be open. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm working on a story about a graveyard where the bones talk.
Oh, okay,
It's called DEM Bones Talk.
I like that.
It's a pretty neat. I think it's a pretty neat story because the bones do get together and talk, and you hear that throughout the story.
And they're telling stories back and forth, kind of. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And you could probably have. I could imagine all the different time gaps that you would have.
Yeah. I've got all kind of scenarios where there's prisoners and everything.
Oh yeah.
That got buried there, and they have a wrought iron fence around their graves, so they keep them in.
Keep them locked.
And so even in death, they're locked up. So, but it's sometimes I do a lot of crazy things. I do things with characters that, like paper cups that talk, flowers that talk. I give life to inanimate objects, and
but that's always interesting to see. You think about suddenly a perspective change.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, because it's the whole idea is again, there's no wrong answer because cups don't talk, flowers don't talk, so you can kind of do what you want to do, and make it flow as long as you keep it, don't make it too silly. So I'm hoping to do a lot of children's books that way and work out that way, but who knows?
Well, I need to get some of your writings. So I have not done that, and I apologize, I've not done that. But I definitely, when we get done with this, I want to make sure and get that information and get your stuff. Like I said, because you did have a huge, inspiration to be like, hey, you're onto something. Yeah, keep writing. So
well, that's always encouraging to me to hear that, because I've heard many times since I've finished school. That I have students will come up to me and say, "Hey, do you remember this story?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember that one." And they said, "Well, so that would, they tell me that, and that makes me feel good."
Oh yeah, because you invested into us, over the years, and so and those I remember those what ifs. I didn't like them at the time.
Not many people did.
Yeah, but I appreciate them now.
Well, for those of you that didn't know, you got 100s on them. I didn't give you everybody got a 100, so I just wanted to do. Of course, someone said, "Why'd you do that?" I said, "Because sometimes they make bad grades, so those 100s help bring up their grade."
Yeah, and like you said, that you actually saw, I guess, proof in the pudding. You could see the kids actually that from their start of the year to the end of the year. How much they progressed. So,
and that was even from the from my lowest students up to my highest students.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some of my lower students, and I always tell this story that where I had some students that they were real, as far as educational wise, they were low. You know, they were, and I'm not criticizing them. That's just
That's
where
what
they
it
were.
was. Yeah.
And we did a thing about creating a catalog. They had to come up with things they had to sell, and then they had to describe what they were selling and all that. And one of the lowest students in that class came up to me, and he had like 6 to 8 pages. Says, "Is this good enough?" And I thought, yeah. I said, wow. You know, 'cause, I mean, he had it all written down. I thought, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
It was something he could do and not feel, tied down.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, what's the subject verb agreement in this sentence? It was, and that's what I was more for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, well, do you have anything? I know I've talked about a lot, but do you have any more things you want to talk about your movie and say it's this Friday and Saturday?
It is. It's Friday
Serenity Farms.
at Serenity Farms. So, but you do need to. This is really important. We would prefer that you don't just show up. Buy your ticket ahead of time, and that's on escapingfilm.com. Real simple, escapingfilm.com. Now, the ticket price, and I'm actually going to run a special producer package for a discount this week, but the regular ticket price, and a lot of people are going to freak out, but you got to understand this is an awareness dinner. It's the whole red carpet experience, but the regular ticket price is $100, but if you get a producer package, it's way more cheaper. Okay, now you're buying more tickets up front, so for $250 you could get 4 tickets, but that comes out to be $62.50 a ticket. So I've had a lot of people, and that's what I was hoping people would do, is because you never go to the movies by yourself,
right?
So you always want to have it. Usually, want it to be like a group experience. So 4 people get together, throw in $62.50, and then they, and that's what I've had most do. So it wasn't necessarily, and I may change things next time we do a film. And I was hoping people would get the gift package. That's really so. But and then Sunday the 13th. Sorry.
Excuse me.
Oh, no problem.
Good morning, WSTQ. I can put it on. What would you like?
The number's 423-802-0455, and we got a fishing rod and pole and a thing of fishing sinkers and hooks and things that goes with it. We say.
All right.
And I don't know about if I can put this on. I got the whole series of movies, Sex in the City.
Pecs in the City?
Sex, yes, in the City.
Oh.
It's a whole series of movies.
All right.
And that's all. And the number is 423-802-0455.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Don't know about the movies, but we'll see. that one threw me off. But sometimes I get thrown off.
Oh yeah.
You said escapingfilm.com so they can get the tickets.
Yes, that's where they can get the tickets. And like I said, once again, I would suggest do not click buy the tickets, go to producer packages, and that's where you're going to get the cheaper ticket price overall. Now you're buying more up front, but it comes out, like I said, to be $62.50 if you get one of those packages.
Okay. All right. And what time does that start from?
Starts at 6 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday, which is a casual viewing, and that one is $25 a ticket on Sunday. And just popcorn, drinks provided. You come, get still with the cast and crew. Are going to be limited cast and crew will be there on Sunday at 4 p.m.
Now, on the Friday and Saturday shows, is there a dress requirement? I know I heard some of that.
Yes, thank you. So it is a formal dress because it's a red carpet, and it's for the awareness. And we're asking everybody that comes to the Friday and Saturday showing to wear either navy blue or sky blue, and that's for the awareness for the kids dealing with domestic child abuse. Because if you look at the ribbon, everything has those those ribbons. If you look at the ribbon, it's split with sky blue and navy blue for them, and it also has the blue hand on there for the stop.
So, okay, good. Well, that sounds great, and I appreciate you very, very much, and appreciate you taking your time out.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.